At 9:27 in the morning, everything was normal. 12 minutes later, 150 lives were already lost.
At 9:27 a.m. on the 24th of March 2015, a routine commercial flight was cruising calmly through European skies. It was Germanwings Flight 9525, an Airbus A320 traveling from Barcelona to Dusseldorf.
Inside the cockpit, the flight crew monitored the instruments, as they had done countless times before.
The aircraft made routine contact with the Marseille en route control center.
Clear to TNN 42, climb and maintain flight level 300. At 9:30, the captain read back the clearance, allowing the aircraft to proceed to its next waypoint.
The aircraft leveled off at its assigned cruise altitude, stable and uneventful.
At 9:30, the captain left the cockpit to use the bathroom.
Almost immediately after, a new altitude was selected inside the cockpit.
Controllers noticed the aircraft was no longer holding its assigned altitude.
Marseille attempted to contact the flight, asking for confirmation of its assigned altitude.
Air France 459er, verify reception.
Over the next 30 seconds, controllers attempted to reach the flight again.
At 9:34, the control center tried reaching the aircraft on a different frequency.
Inside the cockpit, the co-pilot sat alone.
The cockpit door was manually locked, overriding all emergency access. The captain entered the emergency access code. From inside the cockpit, the access was deliberately overridden. Standing outside the cockpit, the captain began to understand.
He began striking the cockpit door, trying to force his way inside.
The reinforced door, designed to stop hijackers, could not be broken. All the while, the aircraft continued its steady descent. The cockpit voice recorder captured the sounds of violent blows on the door.
At this point, most passengers were still unaware of what was happening. They trusted the cockpit.
Air traffic control escalated the situation, attempting contact repeatedly.
Time out was running out.
Even another aircraft attempted to reach the flight.
At 9:40, radar contact was lost.
The crash occurred in a remote section of the French Alps, inaccessible by road.
Emergency crews had to be brought in by helicopter.
The aircraft was completely destroyed. The debris field was vast, but the pieces were small. Search and recovery operations continued in the days that followed.
The cockpit voice recorder was found within the same week.
The flight data recorder was also recovered, despite severe damage. When investigators pieced the data together, a troubling picture emerged.
The descent was not caused by a malfunction. It was intentional.
But it was not hijacked by terrorists.
I checked the hydraulics, I swear I did. But then the alarm went off and we just dropped.
And the pressure reading at that time?
As a child, he became an expert glider pilot. Straight out of school, he joined Lufthansa's flight academy.
He was suffering from a deep, depressive episode.
He was grounded and spent months under psychiatric care.
Eventually, he was declared in remission. But any further psychiatric treatment would ground him again.
He continued his training, moving closer to becoming a commercial pilot.
He stated that he had never been diagnosed with a mental disorder.
The lie was discovered. His career was at risk.
Instead of ending his career, the FAA gave him a second chance.
This conditional acceptance requires strict adherence to the monitoring program.
He was accepted into a Lufthansa-operated flight school in Arizona.
In 2013, he joined Germanwings, a low-cost airline owned by Lufthansa.
A year later, his depression returned. This time, it was worse.
He feared he was going blind, seeing flashes, halos, and shadows.
I understand your reluctance, but this can't wait. You need to see this psychiatrist immediately.
In January of 2015, he returned to the psychiatrist who had treated him before.
He began psychotherapy and was placed on strong antidepressants. But nothing else changed. Despite ongoing treatment, he continued to work and fly.
From February to March, multiple doctors issued sick notes.
He was declared unfit to work.
He wanted something to change. But not in the way anyone expected.
4 days before the crash, he searched for information about the cockpit door locking system.
On the outbound flight, he briefly tested the descent settings.
No one noticed. No one intervened.
On the return flight from Barcelona to Dusseldorf, everything appeared routine.
Doctors faced a dilemma: patient confidentiality versus public safety.
The system worked exactly as it was designed.
Perhaps they believed he was a danger only to himself.
Privacy and data protection are deeply valued in Germany.
Why confidentiality was never broken remains an open question.
Incidents like this are incredibly rare.
In the aftermath, aviation safety regulations were strengthened. Many airlines introduced a two-person in the cockpit rule. All 105 people on board lost their lives.
The captain was 34 years old.
His final moments were spent trying to save everyone on board.
He had thousands of flight hours and vast experience. Passengers trusted him.
Lufthansa compensated the families of the victims.
The families face losses that no money could ever repair.
Understanding this tragedy is about preventing the next one.
Why we tell these stories.
This video required extensive research and careful animation.
Creating detailed animations like these takes time and resources.
To support our work, this video is sponsored.
Learning complex ideas doesn't have to be boring.
Skills like logic and mathematics power everything from animation to science.
You can learn anywhere, even in just a few minutes a day.
If you're curious, we invite you to explore more. Understanding tragedy is how we honor those lost.
Thank you for watching.